Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So we have some more Fallout 76 news today, and this week Bethesda actually pushed their blog post back by a day, which certainly got a bit of a hype machine rolling, and a lot of people thinking there was going to be a really big announcement today with the delay and everything. There's definitely a big announcement, but it's not what a lot of people were hoping for. I know a lot of people were hoping that today was going to have a release date for Wastelanders. It doesn't, but there's some very cool information in here that, despite the fact I think a few people are probably going to be disappointed with no release date, I think it's pretty big news and quite a significant implication from this particular piece of news as well. So very, very interesting, I think. So let's jump in, take a look, and see what we've got. So, Inside the Vault, January updates. Welcome back to Inside the Vault. This week we're sharing details on how you can be invited to some early hands-on time with our upcoming Wastelanders update. We've also got some information about a patch coming next week, a reminder about this week's Double XP event, and we're revisiting the Holiday Scorched event with a few juicy stats, which we'll probably skip over because it's not that interesting. So, Wastelanders private test server coming soon. There have been people asking for at least a public test server for ages, and Bethesda have kind of lent away from doing that. They don't want to go with a big public one, but at least that's the impression I'm getting from what little feedback we've had. Back at, I think it was QuakeCon at the end of the summer, I mentioned they were working on private test servers. It's a possibility. Obviously, the major difference being one of scale. With a public test server, anybody can go in, try out the updates before they launch on the main game, and give their feedback. With a private one, it's a much smaller group, it's much more select, and it's usually under an NDA, which is the case here. Anybody who is taking part in this pre-launch testing of Wastelanders will not be able to tell you what they're doing. And probably a good thing, particularly with it being a private one and not dropping any spoilers, that sort of thing, for people ahead of the full launch. So, for those reasons as well, obviously I won't be able to do any content on it, so I'm probably not going to go for it myself for limited time as well. It's not really worth it if I can't put content out. I'm not much of a playtester either, so I will be waiting for the full update to drop. But if you are interested in playtesting this and giving Bethesda a bit of feedback, this is how you can do it. So, our Wastelanders update is still a work in progress, but we feel the time is right to invite a small number of players from outside our studio to join us in early playtesting of the new content in a private test server on PC. It's PC specific, we should mention here, which I actually missed on my first read-through, but there we go. So it's only open to PC players. First point to bear in mind. For the next few days, you'll be able to sign up and let us know you're interested in playtesting Wastelanders. Later this month, a few hundred of those who opted in will be selected to join the private test server and share their feedback, hunt for bugs that we can squash. So, it's kind of in keeping with what they've been doing to date. Most patches have been coming out first on PC and been tested on PC. I think partly probably because it's easier to release them on there. And obviously games developed on PCs, not on consoles, even if they are console games. So that's presumably why PC is the only route they're going with this. Probably easier to manage for them as well, but unfortunately that means if you're on console you're out of luck. But PC players, at least, if you want to try the new update out before it launches and report a few bugs back to Bethesda and hopefully help smooth the road a little bit for them, the option is there. So starting 17th even of January, a few hundred of those who opted in will be selected to join the private test server. At that time, invited players will gain full access to the Wastelanders update on the private test server so that they can share their feedback with the new content and hunt for bugs that we could squash. Participants will be able to access the PTS at any time until we bring it offline at a later date to review your feedback and bug reports prior to Wastelanders launch. So, from this, I'd probably take away that it's pretty far through development, which is a good sign. They must have already done a significant amount of internal QA, which again is what we'd expect by this time. They're ready to open it up, get more people in there, hopefully find the bugs that they wouldn't otherwise find on their own. Obviously, a few hundred is a long way away from the full player base, so not a perfect solution, not that there really is one, but it's definitely going to be a good step in the right direction. The implication that they're willing to test things out a little bit more, they're obviously taking on the feedback that they've had, and they'd be mad not to, obviously. So, good to see this. Hopefully, continuing on beyond the launch of Wastelanders, future big updates will also have private test servers and therefore a bit more bug testing and hopefully, fingers crossed, a smoother launch. I think it's a good decision, a good step in the right direction. I know a lot of people be in favour of a full public test server and a much larger number of people testing. But there is this kind of trade-off in a sense, I think, because there's only a limited number of people actually working on Fallout 76 within Bethesda. You know, they've got 4 studios, only one of which is actually working on 76. So if they open it up to the whole player base, the sheer numbers result in basically them disappearing under a mountain of tickets, and there's only so much they can actually do, and only so many hands available to squash bugs. So a more organised and controlled manner will probably be a more efficient way of doing it, I think. And you know, having a million bugs passed back to them and then having to sort through that, organise it, figure out what's duplicates and what isn't, it's going to be enough work with just a small few hundred of them without it being thousands of people. So I think I see where they're going with this. It's definitely a significant step in the right direction. So a few more details. For those of you who do want to opt in, head over to the Wastelanders private testing article on Fallout.com. I will link this particular blog post in the description. There is a link here. You can see, where's my mouse gone? There it is, right here. So if you do want to sign up and have a go, head over to the blog post. You can head over from there via the link to the page and sign up. Timescale wise, the opt-in period ends at 6 PM on January the 14th, which is 4 days from now. So bringing up the calendar, Tuesday, and that's Eastern time. So what we're looking at 11 PM in the UK. So if you want to jump in and try it out, or at least have the opportunity to possibly be picked for that, then this is how you do it. Make sure you're in by Tuesday. Keep in mind that if you are selected, the private test server will only be accessible on PC, and you will be required to sign a non-disclosure agreement before you can participate. So, quite obviously, if you're not prepared to do it and say nothing, don't do it. Make sure you're ready to give extensive feedback as well, because that's the whole point of this exercise. Don't do it just for early access, because there's no point. You ultimately, if you get in and you're not giving feedback, you're not doing anybody any favours, and you won't be getting the best experience either, or the best experience possible anyway. So you might as well wait till launch day if you don't want to give feedback. So we're very excited to get this update into the hands of real players from the Fallout 76 community, and we can't wait to hear what you think. So very much looking forward to seeing where this goes. Very, very pleased to see this particular step being taken. Definitely a step in the right direction. A nice practical middle ground as well. So they've obviously put some thought into this, which is good as well. So looking forward to hopefully the most polished version of Wastelanders they can possibly put out. It's a Bethesda game, yada yada yada, all that stuff. It's not going to be perfect. Small team, etc. But hopefully it should be a pretty solid update. A few more details relating to that in the next part of the blog post as well. So, new update coming next week, specifically. We're working full steam ahead on Wastelanders, which will be the biggest update we've ever released for Fallout 76 so far. As a result, we need to make a few behind-the-scenes preparations for the base game so it's ready when we release Wastelanders in Q1. So, I'm still standing by my early March launch guess, particularly as there's no release date yet. They have already released a few preparations. I know a few people have run into places where they wanted to build camps, for example, that they no longer can, where previously used to be able to, and it's because those places are going to become locations used in Wastelanders. I'm guessing this will include a few more of those, so you might find when you log in after Tuesday, your camp might be forcibly moved or packed up and asked to be moved. You know, the usual system. Just because they'll have to roll this out bit by bit, it means the actual Wastelanders launch will be a little bit more manageable. It'll also reduce the size of that one big patch, so hopefully you won't have to download quite as much on the day. So, quite a bit going on. It does mean that the patch on the whole will appear minor on the surface of it, because most of the work is behind the scenes, prepping for Wastelanders. It doesn't contain many gameplay adjustments for the current version of Fallout 76 even, because it's full of background prep work for Wastelanders. It will, however, include a few fixes for some cosmetic items that we managed to squeeze in, since doing so did not affect our ongoing work with Wastelanders content. So, unsurprisingly, a little bit more confirmation that they are focusing almost single-mindedly on Wastelanders and making sure it's the best it can be, which is a good thing. I mean, whatever they're doing at the moment, any patches that come out won't have new content until Wastelanders launches. It might be bug fixes, but new content won't be a thing. They've obviously decided, all right, let's just set our sights on Wastelanders and get this right, hopefully. So, right attitude there, I think. This patch will require some downtime on Tuesday, and we'll be providing patch notes, but we wanted to let you know that the list of changes will be shorter than usual. Wastelanders will not only contain new content for you to explore and conquer, but it will also include many fixes and improvements for issues that are currently existing in the base game. We already knew about this, they've told us this at the end of last year, so hopefully, along with a metric ton of new content, they will also have a whole load of bug fixes, and hopefully that will make the game run a bit more smoothly. And with any luck, assuming those don't promptly break the game again, fingers crossed, it will result in the game at least feeling smoother, even if there are a few bugs coming with Wastelanders, which, let's be fair, there probably will be. So hopefully this should all build towards a really big, significant, positive step with Wastelanders, on top of all the new content as well, which is really, really cool to see. Additionally, in patches that follow, we will plan to return to the larger updates you've come to expect. So, more content fixes, more bug fixes, hopefully a few new quests, things like that being added later on, much like they were sort of this time last year, or a little later in the year actually, but over the summer. So, something to look forward to, more content and certainly more bug fixes, bigger patches, more significant patches coming once Wastelanders launches, which is what we'd expect, and it's good to see. So, a couple of recaps. Double XP event is live now, so we hope your New Year's resolution was to level up, because we're kicking off 2020 with a new Double XP event. It's begun yesterday. As always, this affects all in-game modes, so you can rake in twice the usual XP whether you're questing in adventure mode, crafting in your private world, or battling to claim the title of Overseer in Nuclear Winter. And it will end at lunchtime on Monday, or tea time if you're here in the UK. So if you want to jump in, get in there and you'll be able to take advantage of the Double XP. And if you're really interested, we've got a few bits of holiday scorched information from the Christmas event, which was fun but kind of got a little boring to me after like the first couple of runs through. Got a lot of legendaries out of it, that was cool, but not massively interesting, and the holiday gifts were not particularly great in my experience. Hopefully you guys had a little better experience, but yeah, it was fun, but I wasn't blown away by it, if I'm honest. Some cool news here. Definitely a major step in the right direction with the private test server. As I say, public test server would probably overwhelm the limited number of people who are working on the game, so that's, I suspect, why they're going for a more controlled one. Plus, they can NDA it that way, as it's a huge launch coming up and a very, very big thing for the game. Can understand why they don't want to get spoiled before it even launches. So, details, as I say, down in the description if you want to pick up and maybe jump in and help Bethesda test it, which is awesome. As I say, without being able to create content on it and not being much of a playtester myself, I'm not going to be taking part in that, but looking forward to the update nonetheless, and we'll of course keep sharing news. For now, I'll wrap this up, hopefully keep it reasonably short. Do hope you found this useful and informative. If you did, please do consider hitting like, subs, etc, if you did enjoy the content. I very much appreciate the support. Speaking of support, if you want to become a channel member and support the channel a little more directly, it's hugely appreciated. We're switching things up and focusing on sort of members' live streams from the end of this month. So take a slightly little bit different direction, do a little bit behind the scenes stuff, a bit more casual stuff that wouldn't normally fit in anywhere else. So if you want to hang out, have a bit of a chat, do something a little bit different, you can do that via that as well. As always, social media links down in the description if you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. I've got a few things going up on Instagram hopefully later tonight and rolling on as always. And find out what on earth I'm doing on Twitter as well. Don't worry, I won't spam you. For now, thank you very much for watching. Do hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.